Antarctica's ice is melting faster than ever, losing about 136 billion tons each year, enough to fill millions of Olympic-sized swimming pools. This massive loss isn't just a distant problem, it's reshaping our planet right now. What if all of that ice suddenly vanished? The consequences would be staggering, from flooding coastal cities to disrupting global climate systems. Did you know that the last few years have seen Antarctic sea ice reach some of its lowest levels on record, signaling how rapidly this change is accelerating? Massive sea level rise. The melting of all Antarctica's ice would unleash one of the most dramatic transformations our planet has ever faced. Global sea levels would surge by an astonishing 58 meters, enough to swallow entire coastal cities and reshape continents. Imagine New York, London, or Tokyo submerged underwater, forcing millions to abandon their homes and seek refuge far inland. This isn't just a distant nightmare, it's a chain reaction that would ripple across the globe. The sudden flood of fresh water into the oceans would disrupt critical ocean currents like the Gulf Stream, which regulate climate in Europe and North America. Without these currents, weather patterns would become wildly unpredictable, triggering severe storms, prolonged droughts, and shifting ecosystems. The loss of Antarctic ice would also mean the disappearance of habitats for unique wildlife such as penguins and seals, pushing many species toward extinction. On top of that, vast amounts of trapped greenhouse gases like methane could be released, accelerating global warming in a dangerous feedback loop. Economically, the damage would be staggering. Ports, infrastructure, and industries along coastlines would face ruin, costing trillions worldwide. The ocean's altered salinity would disrupt marine life and fisheries, threatening food supplies for millions. Even Earth's rotation and tilt could subtly shift due to the redistribution of mass, influencing day length and climate. The human toll would be immense, with mass migrations and geopolitical tensions over shrinking habitable land. Antarctica's role as a carbon sink would vanish, worsening climate change, while geological shifts might trigger earthquakes as the land rebounds from lost ice weight. This scenario reveals how deeply interconnected our planet's systems are, and how fragile our future could be if Antarctica's ice were to vanish. Global climate disruption. The sudden melting of Antarctica's ice wouldn't just raise sea levels, it would throw the entire global climate system into chaos. Ocean currents, like the Gulf Stream, act as Earth's climate conveyor belts, distributing heat from the tropics to the poles and regulating weather worldwide. When massive amounts of fresh water from melting ice flood into the oceans, these currents slow down or even shut off. This disruption could cause Europe to experience harsher winters despite global warming, while parts of Africa and Asia might suffer from severe droughts. Hurricanes and typhoons could become more intense and unpredictable, wreaking havoc on vulnerable communities. The balance of heat and moisture in the atmosphere would be shattered, triggering extreme weather events across continents. This sudden shift could also destabilize the polar jet stream, causing prolonged heat waves or cold spells in unexpected places. The ripple effects would extend beyond just weather. Agriculture, water supplies, and ecosystems would all feel the strain. Crops might fail due to unpredictable rainfall, and freshwater resources could dwindle or become contaminated. The interconnectedness of our climate means that what happens in Antarctica doesn't stay in Antarctica. It's a stark reminder that the planet's delicate systems depend on balance, and tipping that balance could lead to a cascade of consequences that affect every corner of the globe. Understanding this helps us see why protecting Antarctica's ice isn't just about preserving a remote continent, it's about safeguarding the climate stability that billions of people rely on every day. Loss of habitat. Antarctica's ice is home to some of the most extraordinary wildlife on Earth, and its sudden disappearance would be devastating for these creatures. Penguins, seals, and countless microscopic organisms depend on the frozen landscape for breeding, feeding, and shelter. Without the ice, these animals would lose their habitats almost overnight. Penguins, for example, rely on sea ice to rest and raise their young, and seals use it as a safe platform away from predators. The loss of ice would force these species to migrate or adapt quickly, but many may not survive the rapid changes. This disruption would ripple through the food chain, affecting predators and prey alike. The disappearance of Antarctic ice would also impact marine ecosystems, as the cold, nutrient-rich waters around the continent support a vast array of life, from krill to whales. Krill, tiny shrimp-like creatures, are a crucial food source for many Antarctic animals, and their populations depend on the ice for breeding grounds. Without ice, krill numbers would plummet, threatening the survival of species that rely on them. This ecological collapse would not only affect Antarctica, but could have global consequences, as many migratory species depend on these waters for part of their life cycles. The sudden loss of ice is more than just a local environmental disaster. It's a blow to biodiversity that echoes around the planet, reminding us how interconnected life is and how vulnerable it becomes when key habitats vanish. Release of methane and carbon. One of the most alarming consequences of Antarctica's ice melting is the release of trapped greenhouse gases, particularly methane and carbon dioxide. For thousands of years, these gases have been locked beneath the ice and in the frozen soil known as permafrost. As the ice melts, these gases escape into the atmosphere, acting like a powerful amplifier for global warming. Methane, in particular, is over 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide in trapping heat, meaning even small releases can have a huge impact on the planet's temperature. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. Warming melts ice, releasing greenhouse gases, which then cause more warming and more melting. Scientists warn that this could accelerate climate change far beyond current predictions, making it harder to control rising temperatures. The sudden release of these gases could lead to more extreme weather, rising seas, and irreversible damage to ecosystems. It's a stark reminder that Antarctica isn't just a frozen wasteland, it's a critical regulator of Earth's climate. Losing its ice means losing a natural barrier that has kept greenhouse gases in check for millennia. This feedback loop highlights the urgency of addressing climate change before these hidden threats are unleashed, pushing the planet into a hotter, more unstable future. Economic impact. The economic fallout from Antarctica's ice melting would be nothing short of catastrophic. Coastal cities around the world are hubs of commerce, industry, and culture, and a sea level rise of nearly 60 meters would submerge many of them entirely. Ports, airports, factories, and homes would be lost, disrupting global trade and supply chains. The cost of rebuilding infrastructure inland would be astronomical, running into trillions of dollars, and many economies would struggle to recover. Insurance industries would collapse under the weight of claims, and governments would face unprecedented challenges in managing disaster relief and relocation efforts. Beyond infrastructure, entire industries like fishing and tourism would suffer as marine ecosystems collapse and popular destinations disappear underwater. The displacement of hundreds of millions of people would create humanitarian crises, with mass migrations putting pressure on resources and social systems far from the coasts. This economic ripple effect would touch every corner of the globe, highlighting how deeply interconnected human societies are with the natural world. The melting of Antarctica's ice isn't just an environmental issue, it's a looming economic disaster that could reshape the global order and test humanity's resilience like never before. Freshwater redistribution. The sudden influx of freshwater from Antarctica's melting ice would dramatically change the salinity of the world's oceans, with far-reaching consequences for marine life. Ocean salinity plays a crucial role in regulating the density and circulation of seawater, which in turn affects nutrient distribution and marine ecosystems. When vast amounts of fresh water dilute the saltiness of the oceans, it disrupts these delicate balances. Many marine species, from tiny plankton to large fish, rely on stable salinity levels to survive and reproduce. Changes in salinity can alter breeding cycles, migration patterns, and food availability, threatening the survival of countless species. Fisheries that millions depend on for food and livelihoods would face severe declines, impacting global food security. Coral reefs, already vulnerable to warming waters, could suffer further stress from altered salinity, leading to bleaching and loss of biodiversity. This shift in ocean chemistry would ripple through the entire marine food web, affecting not only sea creatures but also human communities that rely on the ocean's resources. The melting of Antarctic ice isn't just a local event, it's a global disruption that threatens the health and balance of our planet's oceans and the life they support. Changes in Earth's rotation. So, the redistribution of Antarctica's massive ice mass into the oceans wouldn't just raise sea levels, it could, subtly alter Earth's rotation and tilt. When such a huge amount of weight is removed from the continent and spread across the oceans, the planet's balance actually shifts. This process, called polar wander, means the Earth's axis could move slightly, changing the way the planet spins. Even small changes in Earth's rotation can affect day length by just milliseconds and influence climate patterns globally. Over time, these shifts could lead to changes in seasons, weather intensity, and the distribution of sunlight across the planet. While these effects might seem minor at first, they add another layer of complexity to the already chaotic climate impacts caused by melting ice. This subtle wobble of the planet reminds us that Earth's systems are deeply interconnected. What happens in one place can ripple through the entire globe, affecting everything from the length of our days to the climate zones where plants and animals thrive. Understanding these changes helps us appreciate the full scope of consequences that Antarctica's ice melt could unleash. Impact on human migration. The massive rise in sea levels caused by Antarctica's melting ice would trigger one of the largest human migrations in history. Coastal cities, home to billions, would become uninhabitable, forcing people to move inland or to higher ground. This mass displacement would create enormous humanitarian challenges, including shortages of food, clean water, and shelter. Governments would face the daunting task of relocating millions, often across borders, which could spark geopolitical tensions and conflicts over resources and territory. Infrastructure in safer areas would be overwhelmed, and social systems strained beyond their limits. The cultural and economic fabric of many communities would be torn apart, as people lose their homes, jobs, and ways of life. This migration wouldn't be a slow process. It could happen rapidly, leaving little time for preparation. The world would need unprecedented cooperation and planning to manage this crisis, highlighting how the melting of Antarctica's ice is not just an environmental issue, but a profound social and political challenge that could reshape human civilization. Antarctica's role in carbon storage lost. Antarctica plays a crucial role as a carbon sink, locking away vast amounts of carbon dioxide beneath its ice sheets. If all the ice were to melt, this natural storage system would be lost, releasing stored carbon back into the atmosphere. This would significantly worsen the already critical levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide, accelerating global warming even further. The continent's ice acts like a giant freezer, keeping greenhouse gases trapped and preventing them from fueling climate change. Losing this function means the planet would lose a vital ally in the fight against rising temperatures. The increase in carbon dioxide would amplify the greenhouse effect, leading to hotter temperatures, more extreme weather, and faster ice melt worldwide. This loss of Antarctica's carbon storage capacity highlights how interconnected Earth's systems are, and how the melting of one region can have cascading effects on the global climate. Protecting Antarctica's ice isn't just about preserving a frozen wilderness. It's about maintaining a critical balance that supports life across the planet. Long-term geological effects. The sudden loss of Antarctica's ice would trigger significant long-term geological changes, reshaping the continent itself. The immense weight of the ice sheets currently presses down on the land, causing it to compress. When this weight is removed, the land begins to slowly rise in a process known as isostatic rebound or glacial isostatic adjustment. This uplift can cause earthquakes and volcanic activity as the Earth's crust adjusts to the change. Over thousands of years, this rebound could alter coastlines and local geography, creating new landscapes where ice once dominated. These geological shifts add complexity to Antarctica's fragile environment, impacting ecosystems and potentially human activities. Interestingly, the land beneath Antarctica could rise by up to nearly a kilometer in some areas once the ice is gone. This process also influences sea levels locally and globally as the rising land changes water distribution. The rebound effect reminds us that Antarctica's ice is not just a frozen mass, but a dynamic force shaping the very ground beneath it. Understanding these long-term consequences helps us grasp the full impact of losing Antarctica's ice, not only for today but for many generations to come. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the incredible impact of Antarctica's ice melting. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated on the latest tech and science insights, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon so you never miss an update from InnoVision Tech. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and tell us what surprised you the most or what topics you want us to explore next. Together, let's keep exploring the future of technology and our changing planet.